again to Elektro Vox. So I have the wonderful Toronto is Broken.
Hello.
And REEBZ.
Yeah.
So many of you probably have heard Toronto is Broken, unless you've lived under a rock somewhere in your goth and EDM listening. And some of you may remember from REEBZ doing an incredible set with Zardonic in Fests a little while ago.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah, well, thank you. Clearly you do some very talented work. So for those people who have lived under a rock though, could you please tell us a little bit about
I'm Toronto's Broken. I'm primarily a drum and bass producer, and I've been around since about 2012, releasing commercially. Started off with like breakbeat, and I've kind of evolved throughout. Joined various had releases on like major drum and bass labels like Viper and Ram over the years and stuff. And then it's when it kind of got to lockdown, and I left Viper. I kind of rediscovered my original love for metal through bands like Architects and North Lane at the time, because I grew up on like metal and drum and bass, metal and rock and stuff. But then when I discovered drum and bass, it's kind of all I listened to for like 10 years after that. So I didn't really keep into what's going on. Then kind of rediscovered metal, and during lockdown, as many things happened to us, that's when I just happened to have the time to kind of experiment, merge the two. And now and I did my third album that we originally self-released on my label Yana, and then Fixed, Cell Dwellers label, signed that and redistributed it. And yeah, that's kind of, now I'm kind of known for the kind of metal crossover stuff, and to be fair, it's kind of good because it's like my original roots. I've been able to kind of go back to those days, be inspired by bands like Enter Shikari and Pendulum and those guys. So yeah, so generally like metal, electronic crossover, primarily drum and bass, a bit more on like the new metal side of things when it comes to metal. But
yes, I love you chucked in a few songs like Linkin Park.
Yes.
Yeah. Awesome. I'm REEBZ, and I am primarily a metalhead through and through growing up, and like it was actually only a few years ago that I really discovered like drum and bass properly. And got really into that, especially kind of in the more like neurofunk subgenres, which I found like as a metalhead, the kind of aggression that's in some of that subgenre really resonates with me, and I ended up kind of just getting into doing the drum and bass metal crossover stuff. As a vocalist, I've always loved singing, and I'd never really had an opportunity to kind of properly let loose with all of the harsh vocals and stuff. And it's through my good friend Zardonic who introduced me to Christian, Toronto's Broken. And from there we started working on...
Well, it's funny because we say he introduced us to just do one song. I don't think he expected us to essentially become like a full band and writing now it's kind of, so at the time I was doing my fourth album, and pretty much half of at least 3/4 or something of it reads on that album. And it was good because it's very much, we wrote it like a band. With Sabotage, he wasn't with us last night, but he's with us on the other shows. RMC, kind of writing and worrying about the album as a 3-piece, which has been really nice. And then obviously we've been doing your solo stuff as well together as well. Really so cool. So thanks Zardonic put the connection together, and we've kind of just gone off and made our own little thing from it, which is awesome. So
it's a nice natural sort of progression of things.
It just naturally occurred, didn't it? Because we come up to mine for weekends and we'll just write in stuff and just writing all sorts of things. Toronto's Broken or REEBZ stuff, or working on vocals together for you when you're doing your guest features for people, recording at mine and writing. So there's been all kinds of things. And then
I do a lot of stuff as well, like independently, outside of kind of our realm together. And with that sort of stuff, again, it's very much like composing ideas for my own solo stuff, and I also do a lot of work in terms of vocal features for other drum and bass artists, you know, within the metal drum and bass crossover. But what I love is being able to kind of do a range of things, because I'm really passionate about both genres, you know, like metal and drum and bass, and kind of anything in between, really. It's like I'm sort of like, if I'm feeling the music, then it's all good. I'm down with it. So yeah, there's loads of stuff always going on, and yeah, I love every second of it.
You guys released your newest single.
Well, it's REEBZ single. We obviously wrote and produced it together and stuff, but yeah, it's REEBZ because it's part of your solo album we've been writing together over the past year or so, together. And I don't know if you want to tell them about.
It's very it's kind of much more metal oriented than you know, doing our typical sort of drum and bass metal crossover. This is sort of more through and through, straight up, like aggressive kind of new metal, which is exactly the route that I wanted to take as well as a solo entity, just to have that kind of distinction between my collaborative work and then like my solo work. So yeah, definitely gone down predominantly the metal route with this, and I'm so happy that it's finally out. So I was like, we worked so hard on it, and it's been like a long time coming. And you know, I guess the longer it goes on, the more nervous I become about.
Well, it's not just that.
Get out there into the world, you know.
It's not just that one song; it's the album as a whole as well. With writing the whole album and stuff. And you say like the new metal with Toronto's Broken is very much like new metal as well. So that's just why our styles kind of work so naturally together and stuff. And like I said, it's kind of really unique partnership that we've got. Like I said, doing stuff, but also we're writing stuff together for other people as well and things like that. So it's kind of just like a little writing force. I think we've become doing all sorts of things. So
I don't know. Did I even say what the single is called? Okay,
I don't know
what I'm saying. So the new single is called Cardinal Sin, and I would love it if anyone wanted to check it out. We've got a full music video on YouTube for it as well, which is pretty gnarly, and again, it's something I worked really hard on in terms of the vision for. And yeah, I just would love it if anyone wanted to check it out.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, so have you had a particular time in the show with your incredibly powerful vocals? And when I say that, people who are watching, REEBZ can scream like a legend, basically. When I say it's impressive, I'm not bullshitting.
Thank you so much.
So have you had a show where you have overdone it, and then on your next show you thought, oh shit?
Well, I've had very, very similar situations to this. So like this, and I'm always very transparent about this in terms of like, it's always a work in progress for me. I'm so appreciative of like all the kind words and stuff, and I truly am, but I would never consider myself to like be like a pro. I'm always still learning to improve, and there's so many aspects that come with that, especially with the vocals, is learning like vocal sustainability, knowing how to pace yourself in a set so that you don't like burn out, you know, and there's so many different aspects to it. And while I haven't had a situation exactly like what you've described, you know, between shows, I have had situations, for example, the first show that we kicked our tour off with in Swansea back in February, I was actually really ill for. It turns out I actually... But it turns out I took it to the next level. I actually ended up with pneumonia, and I didn't know, and I felt so rough. And that was one of the times where I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this. Like, I did manage to, luckily. But, you know, it's a risky situation. And then other things, you know, going back to me just kind of saying how I need to learn vocal preservation, you know, behind the scenes before shows. Yeah. So not talking and shouting full throttle like I would do in my everyday life. I've had several instances where I haven't been disciplined enough with myself to do that before shows, and I've been obviously I'm a very excitable person, so I'm excited. I want to talk to people before the shows, and I'll talk and talk and talk and talk, and then it gets to the showtime. I'm like, bro, I don't know if I've got any voice left. Like, you know, so there is so many different elements that you've got to consider. I think especially when doing stuff that's so vocally kind of extreme, like, and versatile, you know, that requires the versatility, like in our sets.
Yeah.
And we've still been figuring out stuff as we go.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
So this is what, the third show of the tour, I suppose. Yeah. And they all had their own kinks and stuff. And obviously we're all building up to like the final kind of London show on May the 3rd. And we've been listening back and things, and we're able to like record some of the sets and stuff just for ourselves to rehearse. Yeah. Especially with the three of us, it's kind of very hard to actually get all in one place to rehearse as we can, being split across the country. But yeah, there's tons of stuff like on all our ends.
Yeah.
To like work on constantly, but like that's the thing. These are kind of like, I suppose, ironing out the kinks for the final London show in 2 weeks.
Well, so. I mean, I personally, I wouldn't even just say that. I would just say, like, for myself, it's always a work in progress. Like, I'm really happy with anything that I can deliver well on, and then I'm always looking to improve even more for next time. So it's like, you know, when it comes to in a year's time, hopefully I'll be like, you know, even better then than I was like now, and yeah, it's always something that I'm fascinated about with vocals, and I want to learn from.
I think as well, even though I've been around since like 2012, so what, like 13 years now, 13 or so years. Like, and I've obviously played shows that whole time, but it's been in this past like couple of years for me really where the intensity of shows have really kind of like come up, especially with like this tour. Like, this is the first time really I'm doing like back-to-back weekends of shows.
And I've never done
it. And
even
though, but even in the 13 years that I've been doing it, like, this is the first time I've had like this proper run of like kind of back-to-back shows, or such a concentrated period of shows. Even for me, like, just it's been learning. It's been learning about
there's a lot to learn, and especially like, I mean, like, obviously, like, for you, massive amounts to have to do, and then also vocally and just from a kind of, I guess, like a stage fronting perspective, it's definitely a lot to learn, and but I love it. I think that's very clear. You know, I absolutely love it.
Oh yeah,
I get on stage.
Yeah, you couldn't work out how to get off the stage after.
No, I couldn't. That's I think the only area where I was like,
so excited
with. I was like, actually, I don't know how to give the microphone back at the end of this.
Yeah, we need to work out like a stage exit procedure.
It was so fun though. I absolutely loved it.
Do the metal thing and just drop it.
Yeah,
is there a wireless mic?
No, I thought that mic was so cool. Like, honestly, I absolutely love wireless mics, and I think because just the freedom with it, and me being like typical me, you know, if there's a cable, I will trip over it. I'm not gonna lie, I had some close calls with the drum kit that was behind me at some point. So.
Yeah, because normally the table and me's behind you, so you're not gonna knock that over or fall into that so bad. But like, I was off to the side. So.
I definitely, I have, regardless of anything else, I have so much fun, and when that's translated into the crowd and you see the crowd reflecting that back at you, it's just. Like, it's the ultimate dream. Like, that is the whole reason for everything. So yeah, it's awesome. I
had one of my friends come up to me and go, I might be getting these two to play my wedding.
Oh my god, that's amazing. Yes, I remember talking about that. That was epic.
James, you know where to message. So it was James, isn't it? Isn't that his name, James? Tom, you know where to message.
You want Holy Roller as your first song for your wedding.
Walk down to the aisle to
That's
read.
it. Yeah, there we go. We got this.
Okay, so apart from, you know, pneumonia, have you faced any unexpected challenges in your musical career yet?
I'm trying to think. I don't know, there's been all kinds of different, like, working with labels is all very different depending on the labels and the scenes that I've been in. Stuff as well, like obviously running my own label and doing all the things that I do in the music industry. Thankfully, I'm luckily at a point now where majority of my income comes from music, so I only have to, like, essentially work a day job a couple of days a week, and even then that's involves music anyway. So just kind of navigate that, challenges with that. Just trying to think, challenges.
I'm pretty good, bro.
No, it's just I'm just trying to think, like, it's just stuff you have to deal with, I think, like.
Yeah, for me,
just other people you have to deal with.
I'll be honest.
I'm just trying to think of a specific
a
example where everything's gone tits up, and I'm not.
You're pretty good.
We'll be driving home later, and I'll be like,
with organisation, like I'm like ADHD through and through. So
I think we both are, but we're like polar opposites in how it operates.
Yeah, I think it manifests differently in different people. Yeah. But for me, my biggest struggle is organisation, and also because I'm so enthusiastic and I love what I do so much. I have a tendency to take on more than like my plate will allow for at any one time, and it's just about like me trying to organise that and like pace myself, because I love the fact that I get to work, you know, and do so much work like in music. It's amazing, but sometimes I you know, with my own like day job and then you know, my personal like just home life and stuff, I find I'm like, oh my god, I actually 24 hours is not enough hours in the day.
Well, I think actually one of my challenges, I think if you think of it that way, is I think now my biggest motivation with music before was getting to a point where I could kind of be kind of self-sufficient from it to a degree, and now I'm trying to get into that. It's like struggling to manage my own time, but not because there's not enough hours in the day. It's just like, and you want to do so much. Sometimes for me, it's the motivation to just get started, like the procrastination thing.
I get that with like so many things in life. Like if I know there's something I've got to do, I can guarantee I'll probably like, you know, I'll do anything else around the thing that I'm actually meant to be doing at that time. But yeah, I do get that.
Yeah, I will get it done. It's just sometimes getting me to actually sit down and do it.
You need the panic.
Yeah, yes, I need the panic.
I need ride off the adrenaline of knowing it's last minute. You're like, shit, I need to get this done.
Yeah, or needing someone to like kick me up the arse essentially and be like, or whatever. I don't know. It's just that it's that discipline, and that will just come with time and things. So,
okay. So moving on to your fans now, I suppose. It is that weird sort of area where fans always want to meet people in the bands, and bands also want that too, but without the creepiness. So, what would you say for fans in that sort of I want to meet a band mindset? What are some green flags for them to do, and what are some red flags for them to do?
MCing in your ear in a smoking area.
That's
a drum and bass thing.
Never happened to me yet.
It's happened to me plenty of times.
Slightly gutted that has not happened to me.
Don't
I'm not openly encouraging it, but I want there to be a day one day.
I didn't have to worry
someone
about
just MC'd in my ear. Like,
I take it that's a red one.
Red one, yeah. You still doing that DJ thing? I don't know.
Yeah, that's
the question. I don't know. So thankfully, I've never really encountered any kind of like creepiness or anything like that. I can't necessarily speak for Ree, but thankfully, obviously me being male is not really gonna. I don't have the kind of worries that Ree might do. Yeah.
Well, you know,
or the things to be considerate about or be conscious of that Ree might have.
Honestly, I genuinely can't say that I've had any experiences like with anyone that's ever made me feel like uncomfortable. You know, I think what's great is like having a good support network around you as well, and I think when people know that, they're also very respectful. Obviously I can't speak for the future. You know, who knows what can happen in the future, but for the most part as well, like I like to hope I'm actually like a very like friendly and like, approachable person, and I do love to talk to people. I've never had a moment with anyone where I thought, you know, I don't feel comfortable, or like that's not cool.
At least not in person.
No, but also you know, online, let's be real, the online, there's billions of people online. Like anyone can message you about anything, and it's like if there is something that's like maybe a bit weird, then it's just like
ignore it.
You don't have to engage. I think and that's like the main thing. It's I feel like anyone I've directly engaged with has always been really cool. And I'm sorry, I wish I could give like a more
I've had
better in-depth answers than just like, well, things have been cool.
Okay, so what would be like good ways of fans approaching like green flags and stuff?
I mean, just even everything we experienced after the show, like yesterday, for example, was just amazing. You know, people coming up and just saying how much they enjoyed the set. You know, a whole range of things. People saying, like, it absolutely warms my heart when people say, like, you know, we couldn't wait to see you guys, and even people that say we'd never seen you guys before, we didn't know what to expect, we absolutely loved it. I mean, that is just, honestly, you don't know what that does for my soul. Like, it is everything to me, and I did say that to every single person because it's true. So, you know, just having that support for what we do is a huge green flag for me, especially having that confirmation that, you know, I've been able to achieve what we set out to do, which is to allow everyone to have a good time and have fun, and enjoy the set, and having that confirmation is amazing. So
everyone seemed fairly. Everyone was great that we spoke to.
Everyone was awesome, really awesome.
I'm trying to think of any other situations where I've had a lot of times where at other events where people have come to me and said, "Oh, we need to do this together," or blah blah blah, or trying to fit in, and maybe just not being able to take no for an answer. So coming with like these ideas, like, "Oh yeah, we should do this together," or blah blah blah, and I'm like, "No, I don't want to."
I feel like actually, that's.
And I think because they've been able to speak to you in person, they can then insist, like, "Yes, like I've made this track just for you to be on with me," or whatever, and things like that. So, but like, I have people coming to like vocalists and stuff saying like, "Oh yeah, I want to do what you're doing," and then I think like, well, actually, direction I'm maybe trying to go is not necessarily going to suit, and things like that. And also, you don't want to upset anyone at the same time, but
you know, it's great to hear it's just great to hear other people's passions and what their visions are and what they want to do. And to be honest, as long as people are respectful with stuff,
I'm not a dick, then it's fine.
Yeah, as long as people are respectful and nice people, like it goes a hell of a long way, you know. And I think that's the main thing. It's generally just the vibe that you get off someone. It doesn't matter if they approach you, say I had a great time at the show. If they approach you, say like, I'm really passionate about what you do, I'd love to do something together or whatever. If they've got a good, respectful, like approachable character, then that is everything, you know. So yeah. Yeah,
like there's a thing that I with my label Yana Music, that I run the drum bass label. There's been plenty of occasions where people have, like, I've been interviewed in the past and stuff, asking about like, what do you look for in demos and stuff like that. Obviously we have a certain kind of sound that we go for as a label, needs to kind of fit our identity, but a lot of the time I've signed tracks that have been like 16 bar, 32 bar loops and stuff, like little scratch demos, purely because I'm more interested in maybe working with that person, as opposed to the music they're presenting me with to begin with. Because I'll be like, if I want to work with that person enough and help develop them, then I'm willing to put in the work. Like, okay, we've got a 32 bar demo, it's like 30 seconds long, I'm going to help you now get this from A to Z.
Yeah,
that's good.
So
and we'll work together and develop
it.
But obviously, if I'm not genuinely that person, I'm not going to do that, am I? So,
no, but that's what I mean, when something about that artist or about what you've heard in that demo really resonates with you. You know, you have then the motivation and the inspiration to help develop.
Wouldn't even necessarily be the demo. I think it's more the person.
Yeah,
90% person, 10% the music sometimes, and then obviously, but you get an idea from that person if they're willing, like, about what they're about, and if they're willing to work and stuff like that in that way for development. So
okay. And moving back to your music now specifically, which of your songs has always resonated with you both the most?
Do you want to start with yours? Because I've got a lot more songs I need to think through.
Well, I mean,
I can go through my Spotify.
it's actually a really difficult one because, like, I guess just as a general principle that I've always had is like anything that I've been involved in the co-writing of that has my vocals, that I write my vocals for. I put like every ounce of like emotion into the vocal delivery and into the lyric writing and stuff. So it's like everything that I've done, there's always like a real personal meaning for me. I think I've got to say, out of the stuff that we've done, Drip Feed, obviously.
Well, we named a record label after that song, didn't we?
Drip Feed is like is the kind of iconic debut of
yeah,
us.
it was cool because it's the first song we worked together, and it's the first song we released. And it kind of started everything, and now we've run a label.
There is another song I have to say. Like if you haven't checked it out, it's literally one of my personal favourites. Like off the Charlotte's Broke album, it's called Shower Prayer.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god, it's just, I just love everything about it. I'm so proud of that song. It's just like, again, it's what would you class it as, like, new metal?
It's just a straight new metal song.
Yeah, it's so cool, and it's like, I think it's kind of indicative of like, actually, this is sort of the direction I want to take for
that's what I was
solo
going to
stuff.
say.
Yeah,
if you like
yeah,
that song, and then obviously with Cardinal Sin and Thanatosis, that's basically, well, I wouldn't say it's your album in a nutshell, but if you enjoyed that, then you'll like it.
Yeah, and in terms of like my solo stuff, definitely Cardinal Sin. I'm not even just saying it because like it's just come out, but it's something that is so personal to me, and I worked so hard on it in terms of like getting that vocal delivery spot on with the emotion that's there, you know, like really conveying the emotion, and you know, it was nerve-wracking because there's some different vocal styles in there that I haven't actually like done in previous tracks. Yeah, and
what I was going to say with that one, so that song is actually incredibly easy to write. I think I pretty much came up with most of the instrumental at this point, or at least up until like the first chorus.
Yeah.
Sent it to you. Whatever you did as your first one, I think, is probably ended up most of the time.
Yeah, it was just
there.
a very natural.
But also, it's a good one for you because it showcases your rapping, your screaming, and your singing. It's like all of REEBZ in one.
Yeah,
it's like a little REEBZ showcase.
But it wasn't so much writing. It wasn't so much trying to be like, yeah, look what I can do.
No, it's just how it happened.
It was just like, that's how I felt the vocal styles needed to be in order to convey the emotion that I'm trying to portray, you know. And yeah, it's such a fun one as well. Like the energy is so cool. So yeah, I would definitely say that's one that's very, very close to my heart. So
for me, I think it's a bit different because I've got lots of eras of like
releases, you go way back,
been on different labels. And, I don't know. There's obviously Spirit Song, which kind of kick-started it all. Spirit Song 2012 in 2012. But obviously, I kind of beat that horse to death a bit. I think we did like a 2017 remix of it and whatever. I think out of the metal stuff, obviously there's like Drip Feed, songs like Shower Prayer, Fred's.
Oh yeah,
I liked, which poses my last album. Like even like each song kind of has its own little moment in history. Kind of like Between Planes was like the last song I released when I was just kind of doing just the dance floor D&B, and before I then started to introduce the metal and stuff. I'm also thinking about some of like the scratch demos we've got for my next album as well. As well, and even there's a song on your album called The Chasm that I think is probably one of the best things that I've written.
So I haven't even like, we haven't touched on stuff that hasn't come out yet. I actually
that's the thing. That's
what
we all listen. That's what we're listening to constantly. And then I'm like, hang on, what songs have I actually?
Yeah, there's some like proper like.
Because you're always working like 9 months a year ahead of what the people hear.
Yeah, I mean, you've pretty much covered everything that's happening for you next. I suppose.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah.
Yeah, kind of.
So last one I just wanted to, well, two more, but last one I wanted to ask a bit silly is I hear you have a strange pet.
She does. I've got a teenage daughter, if that counts. But
that does. But I feel like Emu Jonathan is becoming somewhat of an icon, just throughout all the scenes now, because she's. Okay, let me explain.
Whenever we do any kind of press, it always devolves into some kind of bird talk.
Yeah.
I have no interest in birds,
personally. I feel like regardless of where you got interest in birds, like, it's genuinely an absolute mad story.
Her anyway, so
I bought an emu egg like off eBay, kind of by accident, about 3 years ago.
Okay.
It was. I'd take his sleeping tablet and then like gone on eBay before I fell asleep, and then I bid on this emu egg, and I woke up next morning to a notification. It's like, you've won the bid on emu eggs for hatching or crafts. And I was like, what the
hatching
hell?
Or crafts?
Yeah, I was like, what the hell is this?
What crafts would you do?
I don't bloody know.
Jonathan turned into like a
you can like carve eggs or something.
Oh, okay.
But obviously I didn't know how to like. It's already been dispatched, and I can't really like get a refund. So it turns up like in a box in the Royal Mail, and I was like, okay, well, you know, just when life gives you lemons, you make lemonade. So when life gives you an emu egg, you make emu.
An emu.
There you go. So I basically modified like a slow cooker and put like an incubator lid on top of it.
Wow.
And I was like, well, either in 8 weeks' time, 6 to 8 weeks' time, I'm gonna have an emu or really slow cooked omelette. So
really big boiled egg.
one or the other. And lo and behold, emu Jonathan was born. And she's called Jonathan because I thought she was a male to start with. I was actually really hoping she'd be a male because they are typically known for being like a bit smaller, more docile than the females. So, you know, I guess it was just out of hoping. I was like, Jonathan, he's so cute. And then the vet's like, yeah, you know, Jonathan is female. And I was like, but at that point, Jonathan knew her name. So I was like, it's going to stay as Jonathan.
You had birds before, didn't you? It's not your first foray into birds, just a big emu egg, was it?
No, I've always been like mad with birds. Like I've got like geese and like finches and parrots and stuff. That's all a story for another time. But yeah, Emu Jonathan she's just amazing. She's just so majestic. She's massive. She's like up here, you know, she's sick. She's awesome. So that is my unconventional pet.
I have a cat called Gilbert.
He's
been printed onto a t-shirt.
Yeah,
I've got a t-shirt of him and some guitar picks, but that's about it.
I feel there's going to be some Emu Jonathan merch somewhere down the line.
That would be just you riding it.
Would be well. You know what? My initial aspiration was to teach her to pull a little cart, so I could ride the cart back from the pub, and it's like a bit of a grey area. You can't get done for drink driving on an emu.
But you don't drink anyway. You got to start drinking, so you could
start drinking specifically to ride the emu and cart back from the pub. But yeah, we haven't got around to that yet.
Do you look like one of those Romany like gypsies? Those kind of carts?
Yeah. It would be really cool. So that was my initial plan. But like I say, that's on the ADHD kind of later base. You know, for another time. But now, yeah, Emu Jonathan's just iconic at home. Nice. And I might have another emu on the way that I've accidentally bought another egg of again that I'm trying to hatch. So I don't know. I may have 2 emus soon. It may still just be Jonathan.
If you start seeing a lineup just Toronto is broken, no REEBZ, then just know she's gone too deep with the birds and she just can't. She stay careful.
That's it.
She can't do the show because she bought too many birds. So
that's it.
That's really cool.
Yeah, one day they'll do like a walk on at a show or something. It'll just run from the days like I'm gone. But yeah. They honestly, like, my life's quite unhinged. So
you could get one of them fancy dress costumes where it's like the bottom half is like the emu.
It's gonna don't joke, man. It will happen. It will happen. You're like, why did I put this idea into her head? What happened?
Resistance Festival and like Halloween. Do they do Halloween events?
They should do.
Yeah.
Halloween or not Halloween, the emu costume is happening at some point.
Nice. Well, and the last thing I just wanted to ask you both, of course, is do you have anything you'd like to say to your fans?
Thank you for being patient with me because it's been like 18 months since I released my album and I've not done much, but we've been busy working on REEBZ album, so hopefully you'll really enjoy that when that comes out because we're both really excited for that. It's been a lot of work. It's essentially just
honestly,
been writing the record again. Here's an album, and then be patient. We have got some Toronto's Broken singles, the 3 of us, me, Ree, and Seb, coming up that are in the pipeline. Might already be out by the time this goes live. Comes out May 2nd, the single. So,
and I just want to say as well, like when you ask that question, like my words catch in my throat because of just how I sometimes can't find the words to express to everyone like how insanely grateful I am for like everyone's love and support and what it does for me, like not just as REEBZ but just as a person. You know, the confidence that it gives me, every single person who sends me like a nice message on Instagram or a comment on something or comes up in real life after a show, and just like how much that actually means to me. Like everyone is amazing, and yeah, I've got so much love for you all.
I think it's been really cool as well doing the like our own tour.
Yes.
Because obviously, as we've kind of developed more into becoming my own thing with Toronto's Broken and with the crossover stuff, it kind of like doesn't necessarily fit into the drum and bass sphere as much as it used to, and it doesn't necessarily fit into like the metal sphere or whatever. So we've kind of essentially.
But it fits here.
Yes, it does, and we've kind of but we've just kind of been focusing on like crafting our own niche as opposed to me fitting into getting on.
Yeah.
Like I've not been. I know we're never going to get booked by like Worry About Henry or D&B All Stars. We're not that kind of like lineup or whatever, which are like big, major drum and bass promoters. Or like I wouldn't be surprised if like I'm not going to get booked for the Liquidity Festival, for example.
You never know.
But
you never know. You
well,
never know.
maybe, but I'll probably just like I'm watching this like alright, crossing off. Okay, but even then, like, and then even trying to convince like get into the metal side of things, and we've not been trying to fit in so much. We've just been focusing on building our own niche. And I have had people come say to me like, you need to decide whether you're drum and bass or metal, and I was like, no, don't. I'm making our own little thing in between, and it's been so nice like on this tour that we've kind of self-funded and self-booked off our, and I've literally called in like every favour in the industry that I've earned over the past like 12 years to like make this thing happen with friends and whatever, and it's been really nice to see those people turn out and to see the fans coming to see us, because
like the fan base is just absolutely awesome. Like just having these people who love the metal and they love the drum and bass, and most importantly they love what we're doing.
Yeah,
and
in particular, it's that crossover.
What we're set out to do. And again, I know I've already said it anyway, but it genuinely means the world to us. So yeah.
Yeah, and even though that was my last question, I just want to make a point there that you know, there has been a revival in metal in electronic music, because you do
Phase
see,
one, people
you see
like that.
much more new metal now, and even industrial techno has been like mixing in like, you know, old metal like Slipknot and stuff into
That's so
industrial
sick.
techno.
Yeah.
It's like Paolo Ferrara, people like that, isn't
Yeah,
it?
exactly. Yeah, I'm playing one of his songs tonight.
So-
Also playing one of your songs tonight. Well, it's Draven and Zardonics and obviously you, Taste of Your Blood.
Oh, sick!
So yeah, it's nice to see a metal revival in industrial and
That's so
electronic music.
cool.
But yeah, anyway, thank you guys
Thank
ever
you.
so much for joining me. I think you blew everyone away yesterday,
Cheers.
including myself.
It was weird. It was good because like I think we generally had no idea what to expect because we've not come to here before, and then also we're on a main stage lineup with like the bands. So it'd be like, oh, who are these guys coming out with like some CD decks and just pressing play and then running around singing
It
and
was
stuff.
such an incredible lineup. I mean, the artists on the lineup and
Yeah.
the bands were absolutely phenomenal, and you know, like being able to hear people live, you know, you get little snippets when in between doing sound checks, and everyone sounds absolutely incredible. And you know, there's always that little part of me in terms of like, you know, self-doubt and self-confidence, and I'm like, oh my god, should I be here like right now?
And it's been cool to see how all the different electronic industrial acts kind of go about doing the live thing as well, like how they're set up. Because obviously one thing we're always thinking about and working towards is the Trumpets Broken live band show, which would involve a kind of obviously a heavy amount of technology to make it happen. And so it's just cool seeing how everyone. Like I was expecting it just to kind of be the bands on this lineup, but a lot of like Priest is electronic essentially, isn't it? And then Beyond Borders was just two guys, one guy with a keyboard and a vocalist. Very
Really
similar
cool.
to what we do.
Really,
So
great like versatility and
like
and
diverse
range,
styles of
diversity,
formats.
in the act. So I absolutely loved it.
Yeah, I feel a bit silly for being worried in the
Well, you know, I think it's one of those things as well. Like I've always wanted to come to Resistance, and like to the first time coming here to be, you know, being on stage, I'm like, oh my god, I don't know what to expect. I really hope people enjoy this as much as I enjoy, you know, like performing for them, and for that to have happened was just awesome. It was really, really awesome. So yeah, thank you all so much.
I think you are definitely welcome back with our community.
Thank you.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Thanks everyone for watching. Bye.
Woo! Thank you.
Hopefully.